So this month for Student to Master, it's all about design engineering. For this month's Student to Master, I've got Rock Desillets telling his story. Now, Rock just retired out of machine design engineering out of the aerospace industry, and that lasted 3 months. But I'll let you tell his story because it's a good one. Are you ready?
Hello?
Hi, is this Rock?
Yes, it is.
Hey, it's Kane and Manley. How are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm pretty well. Basically, start by telling me your background.
Well, I was one of the gearheads in high school. We were kind of looked down upon by the rest of the school because we all had grease under our fingernails, the car guys. But I've been interested in machinery since I was a little kid. My father was an aircraft mechanic anyway, and he was a natural machinery guy, so I got that from him. And then I went to college, University of New Hampshire. Started as a music education major, if you can believe that. It lasted 1 semester. I said, this is BS. I can do something different. I switched to what I really wanted, mechanical engineering. And got my degree from UNH. I squeaked through. It's a good thing they didn't put your grade point average on your diploma. And I went in the Air Force. I had been in the ROTC, Air Force ROTC, and I got commissioned as second lieutenant when I graduated. So I went on active duty in the Air Force, and I was a missile maintenance officer working on these intercontinental Minuteman missiles that they have buried silos out in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do maintenance on those. And then I left the active service, stayed in the reserves. But I went to work for a company in Connecticut making solenoid valves, little electrically operated valves. I was there for about 4 years, and it was a good job. It was a good entry-level job. I wanted to do a little bit more. I wanted to know more about the whole system that was being designed instead of just components in it. So I went to work for Caterpillar Tractor out in Illinois. And they had me working on the hydraulic systems on excavators. You've seen these things on the side of the road. They're on 2 tracks, and the upper half rotates around 360.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's what I was working the hydraulic systems on that. It was a great education. And I tell people I got to play with the world's biggest Tonka toys, and they paid me to do it. But I didn't care for the Midwest. All my friends and family were here back in the East, so I went to work for Hamilton Standard in Windsor Lodge, Connecticut. As it turned out, it's a good thing I left Caterpillar when I did, because they had some major layoffs after I left. I would have been laid off anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But went to work for Hamilton, worked on aircraft propellers, and then later aircraft air conditioning systems. I was there for 13 years. And then got laid off from that job and bounced around. I actually got recalled to active duty in the Air Force for a while. You remember when Hurricane Andrew hit Homestead, Florida?
Yes.
In the early 90s? Yeah. 2 years after that, I was sent down. I was in charge of construction at Homestead Air Force Base. So I was down there for about 4 or 5 months. And then I came back, and I went to work for another company in Connecticut. I was there for several years. Left that, and I went to work for a consulting engineering firm here in Connecticut. And again, that was a pretty good job, but it was kind of dependent on contracts. And if they didn't get the contract, suddenly you're out of work. And I wound up going to work for Pratt & Whitney, the jet engine manufacturer. And I spent 12 years there before I retired. And I had a terrific job because I was working on the mechanical systems of the commercial jet engines. Basically, mechanical systems are anything that get touched by oil. Bearings, gearboxes, seals, this sort of stuff. And we had the whole engine from front to back because our components were throughout the engine. And I got to work on a wide variety of engines. It was just a great experience. Never the same thing twice in a row. Every day was new. It was a great job. So I retired from that last May. And retirement lasted about 3 months, and I went back to school. I started taking machine shop operation and manufacturing at the local community college. And I partly went there just for the fun of operating the machines, getting my hands dirty. But I'm also taking, as part of my courses, this programming for CNC milling machines and lathes.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'd like to do now, once I complete this program, is to do consulting work for some of the companies in this area who make components for Pratt & Whitney, for GE, for Sikorsky, for Boeing, because while the buyer, the customer, owns the design of the part, the company that makes the part owns the design of the process of the tooling. And I figure I can help them out when they're short-staffed or they get a surge. I'd like to go in there, help them out with the tool design, fixturing design, and the CNC programming.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to work full-time, but I'd keep my hand in the business.
Okay. So thinking back to when you were, let's say, 15 to 18, kind of our target area of our focus on this, what did you want to do from that point?
Really what I wanted to do was like design engineering.
Okay.
And, eventually that's really what I did.
So what kind of technology was available when you started?
What do you mean, like computer technology?
I mean, was it computers? Was it rulers and pencils?
Oh, we had slide rules and pencils.
Okay.
Triangles. I graduated from college in 1972.
Okay.
From high school in 67. So there were no personal computers back then. We didn't even have pocket calculators. We had slide rules.
Right.
I still know how to use mine, by the way.
Well, I actually just got my briefcase from my grandfather who passed away. My grandmother kept it. I'm the only engineer in my family, so they passed it down to me, and he has a lot of that same stuff, like a slide rule and a bunch of, just stuff that today I think people would look at and just think, I don't even know what this stuff is. It's stuff for a museum.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got a drafting board that my former father-in-law and I built, and it's got the old-fashioned drafting arm with the two scales at 90-degree angles, so the thing just swings through arcs.
Yes.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Oh, talking old technology here.
Yeah. Old but reliable.
So throughout your, I guess you've been in business 40-ish years and that, what would you change looking back now? Would there be anything you would change?
Not really. I really wouldn't. I think there have been jobs that I didn't like, but I really can't say I would have changed anything. I did pretty much what I wanted to do. I did design engineering and some project engineering. Like when I was at Caterpillar, the two were combined. So not only did you design the component for the machine, but you had to take it through manufacture and development, testing, and everything else. So it was a combination of design and project, which was a great experience. And in hindsight, I don't think I would really change much of anything.
Okay. So what advice would you give to students right now that are kind of in their late teens, in the late high school stages, or even starting college?
First thing I would say is get some practical experience. Get your hands dirty. And like I said in my email, if you get an old Ford or Chevy up on blocks in the backyard, that's a great training aid. And also working. There's not many gas stations where they repair cars anymore, but if they work in an auto parts store, or if they work in one of these, their part-time job in one of these manufacturing companies, even just washing parts or sweep the floor in a machine shop, something, just get some experience. Talk to the people who are working there. Ask questions. And the bit about getting one's hands dirty and getting experience is important, because we had a kid come to work with us when I was at Pratt & Whitney. And he was a graduate of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which was supposed to be a good engineering school. And I had to explain to this kid what was meant by major diameter, minor diameter, pitch diameter, and pitch on a screw thread. Now, that's machine design 101. He should have had that. He didn't have it.
Okay.
That's scary that they're not getting that training. And that's also his lack of experience. Had he worked in a shop somewhere, worked in a garage, he'd have a better feel for what the real world is like. The guy was a good computer jockey, but he didn't have any practical experience.
Right. So I think outside of that, what kind of outlook do you think you have, or do you see for the next 20 years in your industry? I mean, if we're talking just aerospace.
Well, aerospace is booming right now. Especially on the commercial side. Military side is a little spotty because that changes depending on political administrations and such things. But the commercial airline business is booming, and there are a lot of 737s and Airbus 320s that are getting old and they're going to have to be replaced. And replaced with newer designs, with more efficient aerodynamics, better engines, and this is going to be a big thing for a long time. That's my view on it. And the work is there, and I think it's going to be there for a long time.
Okay. So I guess, do you have any additional advice, anything not related to engineering or that, just for students in general, our millennials or our Gen Z, which are our late teens right now?
A couple of things. One, if they have the opportunity to go into military service, don't underestimate the value of that, especially if they can get some technical training. If you go in there and become a light infantryman, I don't think you can use that much in the outside world. But there's technical positions available. Jet engine mechanic, electronics, all sorts of things where you can get some good practical experience. Plus, of course, the discipline of military life. It prepares you for the real world. And the other thing that I would tell the millennials and the Generation Z, don't be so damn dependent on the computers. You see the kids taking their smartphones out for everything, to check everything, and they don't have that bank of general knowledge. They just feel they can look it up on the computer, and also they're just too dependent on the computer on what's the word I'm looking for? Prepackaged formulas and everything, and that's not good. They should understand what they're doing when they set up a problem and what they can anticipate for an answer before they plug it into the computer and then let the computer run. Because computers, are only as good as the information that's put into it. And I don't think these kids realize that. They're too dependent on the computers.
So outside of the technical area and education, what skills would they have? What kind of soft skills, or what would really make someone successful outside of knowing how to use a computer or like a technical education?
I'm not sure what you mean there. Could you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, so, do you think someone could use presentation skills or the ability to carry on a non-technical conversation?
Yeah, that would be definitely helpful to be able. I've heard it said that we need more English majors in engineering because you have to be able to present your case. Say you're doing a design review or something like that. You will have to be able to present what you're doing and be articulate, which I'm not always, unfortunately. But be able to communicate with people and also communicate on paper, to write clearly. The other thing I would say is don't squander that opportunity. They're getting an opportunity. If they're in school right now, learn, work at it, give it their 100%.
Now, don't forget, I'm still looking for interviewees this year, so if you've been in an industry for 15 to 20 or more years, I'd love to hear your story and what feedback you'd give back to your 15 and 25-year-olds coming up in the next generations. Contact me. We can do it by messenger, we can do it via phone, or perhaps in person if we're close enough to each other. We'll see you next time.